In today's video, we're going over how the LPGA boss is being an outlier and willing to take the Norman's call after he suggested that the entire women's tour could end up joining LIV. This could be a first in the history of the Saudi-backed series, as an entire tour hasn't welcomed LIV in this manner before. If anything, tour commissioners have spoken up about how much they despise it. First off, a promising moment for women's golf. So let's be clear about one thing. The LPGA commissioner's response is definitely not a flat-out no. Unlike others, she's the first in line to show she's sincerely willing to have talks. The LPGA commissioner, Mollie Marcoux Samaan, stated that if Greg Norman called about collaborating with LIV Golf, she'd be open to his ideas. "To examine every option is my obligation," Marcoux Samaan told the London Times. She went on to further state that she would participate in a discussion if it would further the tour's goal of promoting women's golf as a whole, but that the players and sponsors must also contribute. She claimed that before even thinking of working with LIV Golf, there are several things to consider. Numerous news sources were informed by Norman last week that LIV Golf is 100% interested in getting involved with the women's game. Of course, LIV Golf has caused turmoil by luring prominent men's golfers away from the PGA Tour. According to Marisa Fassi of the LPGA circuit, it has gained a lot of traction there. If offered a lot of money, the entire tour may leave, according to Cristie Kerr. Everyone has varied perspectives about what the guys are doing, but Fassi warned that when the focus shifts to them, it would be difficult to say no. In light of this, it would be preferable for the LPGA to collaborate with LIV Golf as opposed to losing all or the majority of its members. They all genuinely care about this tour, according to Fassi, who said that they don't really want to leave exactly. Coming up, Monahan doesn't exactly see it the same way as the LPGA. Not too long ago, the PGA Tour's commissioner, Jay Monahan, defended his choice to exclude players from competing in the Saudi-backed LIV Golf series, which has been the subject of much controversy. He went on to say that dissident players shouldn't expect a free ride off of devoted competitors who are loyal to the PGA as an organization. Of course, this is a pretty weak take by Monahan, who's obviously in hot water considering the incredibly lucrative packages the players are getting from LIV, which they never did from the PGA. Monahan said the bans were required to safeguard the tour's interests, which take precedence above all else. He said this in his first public remarks following the announcement of punishments against 17 current or past PGA Tour players for their participation in LIV Golf. Just the ban alone has projected a negative image on the PGA, as many commentators of the sport are in agreement that the PGA should have clearly handled this better and protected the interests of players. In a television interview with CBS on the sidelines of the Canadian Open, Monahan went on to further state that it's been an ugly week overall that was created because of some poor judgments by players who chose to seek greener pastures. Monahan claims that it's his responsibility to safeguard, uphold, and honor those loyal PGA Tour members, partners, and supporters who chose to stay with the organization. So he did just that. There's now no way for players who chose to join the lucrative Saudi-backed series in breach of PGA Tour rules to return to the tour's events as of now. Looking at how things are shaping up to be within the PGA, there's a good chance this ban may be a lifetime one, and that many of these players who spent a good portion of their careers with the PGA won't be making a return. This is just pure speculation, and no figures have been quoted in reference to the ban, so it's pretty much indefinite until further notice. Monahan's response, when asked why LIV golfers couldn't just play on both circuits, was that he would be answering the question by posing another question, which is that, why do the players who left still need the PGA so much then? Admittedly, we're going to have to agree with Monahan on this point, because with their financial packages, the LIV players would pretty much only be playing with the PGA as if it were a side hustle, considering the vast difference in income they would be receiving when comparing the two together. Guess we'll never find out though, considering Monahan's airtight stance on the matter and his decision to not reverse the ban. Next up, Norman isn't taking criticism backing down, and will do whatever he can to legitimize his new series. As the US Open week finally came to an end, Norman, who is the public face of the contentious Saudi Arabia-sponsored LIV Golf series, spoke with Fox News' One Nation with Brian Kilmeade to make his stance clear and clear up some rumors. He retaliated against the several PGA-affiliated detractors of LIV Golf, including the likes of famous sports analysts Bob Costas, who recently claimed that Norman and the other golfers he assisted in luring away, such as Phil Mickelson, are receiving blood money. A pretty bold claim by Costas, who didn't support this claim with further statements or any evidence regarding this. Norman reportedly stated that he's honestly pretty unhappy when individuals of any background, sports or otherwise, try to go down that road. This statement comes quoted courtesy of USA Today Sports, who are covering the matter. Having a man like Norman in their corner is only going to be great for the LPGA. Now, in other news, coming up next, Woods has some unkind words for Norman's new venture. The golfing megastar Tiger Woods Woods, was critical of the new series and questioned why anyone would even bother taking part in it despite the guaranteed amounts of money involved. Woods said that he objects to that. When asked about his fellow pros who have been ejected to join the contentious tour, which is being led by Aussie icon Greg Norman, Woods had some strong words to say. He claimed that he thinks what they've done is they've turned their back on what has allowed them to reach this position in the first place, clearly implying that they would be nothing without the PGA. The golfing star went on to say, "Who knows what will happen with world ranking points or even the entry requirement for major tournaments in the near future." He believes that some of these athletes might never have the opportunity to compete in important championships ever again. While we also believe that this may happen, we agree that there is still much uncertainty about that. Woods claimed to be aware that Greg attempted to organize a breakaway tour in the early 1990s, to which didn't materialize to this extent. He's apparently attempting to make it work now because it didn't work before. Woods continued, saying that he still doesn't understand how this move is best for the game. Next up, some feel betrayed by players choosing LIV. Rory McIlroy believes that the PGA Tour did the right thing by taking an extreme step and suspending his peers, including Ryder Cup teammate Ian Poulter, who disobeyed orders not to participate in the $24 million Centurion Club opening round of the Saudi Rebel Tournament. Poulter retaliated, claiming he will pursue legal action after he received an email informing him that his 18-year-long membership had abruptly and sympathetically come to a stop, as the battle lines were being formed more clearly than at any other point in this professional career. The 17 professionals who had teed off here, including Dustin Johnson and Phil Mickelson, were suspended indefinitely, according to an email from PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan. He was trying to send a very obvious message. McIlroy wholeheartedly supported the action, calling the move his peers made vindictive. The Northern Irishman stated that Jay's done the right thing because these individuals have disobeyed the rules of golf in a major way and done things outside of the tournament regulations, and as a result, there will be consequences. He smugly said that he thought the remaining membership of players in the PGA as a whole really appreciated it. Next up, Norman makes a swipe for more talent. In one of the most controversial moves in his battle against golf officials, Greg Norman has taken a mocking jab at his rivals. His icy jab at his PGA Tour critics comes as speculation about Australian star Cameron Smith defecting to Norman's renegade LIV promotion intensifies. According to rumors, Smith has been offered an outrageous signing bonus of almost $130 million, which he reportedly finds to be too good to pass up. Suddenly, Norman is the one holding the winning hand this time around. Even former US President Donald Trump has urged golfers to take the money and sign with Norman's Saudi-backed series. Smith, Australia's newly crowned British Open champion, raced to victory at St. Andrews fairly recently with a brilliant final round. The prospect of Brooks Koepka, Bryson DeChambeau, Dustin Johnson, and possibly Smith, the new number 2 in the world, joining Norman's endeavor further legitimizes LIV Golf and puts pressure on the organization to reach an agreement of some kind. Norman has now made it known that he thinks the PGA Tour made a mistake by not returning his calls prior to the start of the conflict because of its stupidity. That's a wrap for this video. See you in the next one.